Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Fellas. As always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all things The Fellas. And as always, you can find us on your podcast platform of choice. Today, we're going to talk about Austin. Guys, I'm going to just jump right into it and sum it up. We could label this one the Max Factor. I'm going to throw it out to you, Ray. Thoughts on the race?
Yeah, well, the what you said plays out, right? Because Max walked in on the weekend, didn't have a great car, blah, 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 right? Took the sprint race and then came back and then took the main event, right? So it is the Max Factor. And now he has come back that now the squabbling that's going on with the two teammates is getting even more concerning because if they don't play it right, my man's going to walk out and walk away with that championship. Mm-hmm. So, again, Zach, you're listening? What you doing, bro? You need to tell which one's number one, which one's number two. Mm-hmm. All right. That's my take on it.
Simon?
Yeah, man. Yo, Max is doing his thing, man. Doing his thing calmly, not getting stressed out when you ask him, hey, what are your thoughts about winning the championships? We're going to take it one race at a time. My man is just doing what he needs. He's seeing that McLaren's a little stressed right now, a little, trying to figure out what's going on there. And he's just being consistent. Not only did he get qualifying for the sprint, he won the sprint, got qualifying for the race, and then won the race. You know what I'm saying? It's a quadruple trifecta if that's such a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's true. He's benefiting. Hey, first of all, he's an exceptional driver. So I'm not trying to say anything like that, but he's also benefiting from what still remains at McLaren, that they're not putting their foot down and having a standard, we're backing this driver. And the way it's always been is it's always been whoever's ahead in points, that's who we're backing. But they're still, we're going to allow them to race. But anyway, yeah, he walked away with it from the start. I mean, he got a clean start and held a place and basically, rolled himself in his car down the track. And there was nothing that anyone could do about it. I'm just surprised again. Like the Red Bulls seemed like it wasn't performing that well a few races back, but now he's here again on fire, with everyone else. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, we'll give him his flowers further down. But the other thing we have to talk about is part of his ability to do that is the question: is McLaren imploding? I mean, Simon, I'll go to you.
That's a tough one, right? I have a few theories on what's going on throughout the teams, but yeah, it's easily on the surface. We could easily say McLaren's imploding. Piastri's, a little, unsure what's going on with the car, not stepping up the way we're used to. Is the accident between him and Lando last week or a few weeks ago playing a role? Is there some internal infighting going on? But it also could be that Red Bull has tweaked their car and Max is doing his thing, right? It could be that. But, on the surface, it looks like McLaren's imploding. Now, the only thing that's giving, McLaren an asterisk next to that is Mercedes is doing well too. And Ferrari's kind of stepped it up a little bit, but we'll get into that a little later. But it's right now on the surface, I have to agree that Piastri is not driving the way we're used to or accustomed to driving, but he's still staying calm. So I don't know if there's a clear answer to that one, Rob.
Ray?
Well, there's some stuff going on in McLaren. They're not treating my boy Piastri right. And you know what I'm saying? They were supposed to come back and do their give back with the last faux pas they had at the last race with him, right? They promised they were going to do a correction. No correction happened. But
he didn't get in the front.
Lando needed to over and let him go by. Yeah, well, I think that's weighing on Oscar, and I'm hoping. Well, my assumption is weighing on Oscar, and I'm hoping that he can clear his head of that and go back to the Oscar before, where he just puts his head down and and push in and go for it, right? Because the crash during the sprint may have, he's feeling, may have caused additional pressure, right? Because he is, the Max factor is walking in the door, and he wasn't on the field to say, hey, let me grab some points doing that sprint race, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the pressure is coming on him, and I think it's his to lose is the championship right now. And I'm hoping that he has the.
When you say his, who's his? Piastri?
Yes, the championship is his to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping he has the depth to muster the energy and the fortitude would help a Mark Webber to to ride it out and go forward, because Zach ain't helping nobody. With the race together stuff, bro, that don't exist. But anyway, I think I've said enough on that. But I think he has to go digging deep to pull this one off, right? Because Lando was on fire. So Lando has a down weekend, and then he fires back up on the next weekend. That seems to be a pattern of his, right? So, the only way Oscar is going to be strategic in what he does, right? Especially with Max around now, because as Simon said, Max was real relaxed, calm, whatever. But Max has sent them. I know enough that Max is saying, I'm coming for this championship, right? No, there don't need to be any excitement around. I'm coming for the championship. So it's up to you if you're, if you got what it takes to beat me to it, fine. If not, it's all going to be mine. And it'd be kind of funny if the two McLaren boys are left out in the win after that, when Max walk in from nowhere with a car that they still say is not 100%, right? And come and take away the championship for them. How's McLaren going to feel then, right? Because they'll be the fools of the whole season to have that whole thing, and then at the end make it go poof in front of them, because why? They don't want to conform to the stuff and say, yo, let's support this driver. This is a driver that's ahead, because, they want their boy to win. So,
there may be some elements of that, right? There may be some elements of that. And I think I agree that Max right now has the upper hand, because in years past where you had a clear number one in a team battling, and he's battling another team for the championship, that's where the number two would come in and either block, help, you help. So, we saw Checo do that for Max in the past.
Didn't
we?
Or didn't we not?
Yeah, we saw Checo
parked him. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So why or how it's gonna lean or can lean or is leaning into Max's favor is that the McLaren boys are fighting each other, right? And there might be some inter-team issues going on as well, right? Because it's not like Oscar to drop off like this. I don't know what's going on behind the curtain, but Max definitely has the advantage, because while they're fighting, he's running down the track, kind of thing. So Oscar definitely, he has to dig deep. He has Mark, that if it is indeed something going on within the team, that's wealth of knowledge right there, because Mark endured that with Sebastian. Right. To kind of tell him, as long as he's getting equal equipment again, and
you hope
not like the seeming favoritism of the last race where they asked Lando when he wanted Oscar to pit type thing, like that was funny. That was funny, right?
Well, they're going back to the Mercedes days with Rosberg and Hamilton.
Correct.
Where they just bring over the B team and say, yo, this is your new team.
Correct. So I think it is Oscar's to lose, but he's going to have to dig deep, because if he's also fighting any forces within the team, he's going to have to really be strong to do it, and here's the problem. You can't take each other out because if you do, Max is gone.
Yep.
He's going to pick that up and run down the track. So anyway, but Simon, you mentioned before about Mercedes, but that kind of leads us into our next topic, in the sense that Ferrari showed up this weekend, but then Mercedes faded, right? I mean, I was happy to see Lewis up there pushing and challenging and gaining position. He looked strong, right? Charles was strong. They had a little moment where they were, Lewis was trying to pass Charles, and Charles wasn't, didn't want to give away. Huh?
He wasn't having it.
He wasn't having it. And hey, that's racing. That's what we want to see, you know. That's what we want to see. But anyway, my you know, I enjoyed seeing that. And then just we'll get to later that Mercedes was like, you know, in the midfield, just nowhere. Your thoughts, Simon?
So my thoughts is going to go more into the engineering and the technology of the cars a little bit. You're absolutely right. Ferrari showed up. Mercedes didn't. Last race, Mercedes had a powerhouse. 2 cars were powerhouses, and then they didn't show up this race. And it was funny. Something that Leclerc said during his interview that I found fascinating was he said, you know, we can have a car on Friday and race, and everything is working well. And then Saturday, the same car, we haven't touched it. All we did was put tires on it, and it's at the bottom of the pack, right? So it seems like there's external forces, or I think one of the terms that I heard you guys say is that temperamental, right? Or very sensitive. The cars are becoming so technically advanced that you can touch 100 things and make a major difference on a car, but you don't know which one of those 100 things you touch is actually doing the damage or improving the car, right? So I think, you know, every week for us, we don't know who's going to be consistent and who's going to be, other than McLaren and Red Bull at this point, who's going to be consistent. But even McLaren is having some issues, right? We're thinking it's internal. We're thinking it's the drivers are having some sort of psychological issue internally. But for all we know, it just could be the technology of these cars, the sensitivity of these cars are so vast that it's from week to week. We don't know who's going to be performing at a high level.
Yep. Right.
Well, so I'll roll back to the beginning there. I don't think Ferrari is showing up. I think Charles was able to wrestle a car to bring it there, because if you looked at the weekend, and which I don't give stock to anymore, Lewis was ahead in majority of the sectors, right? And then when it comes prime time, he's not, right? So I still say that stuff's going on with Ferrari that's impacting his performance, right? And I think both drivers' performance, but I think it's impacting Lewis more negatively than it is Charles, right? And so I just, you know, I don't think that Ferrari showed up. They lucked out and they were there, right? And they, you know, they went at it that way. But I still think that there are issues there as far as it's like last year. They're kind of in and they're out, and they're in and they're out, and that's, you know, they haven't really changed much this year for that. And so that's what we saw there, right? But you're talking about the move there, but Charles was, I used a different word. Let me change it. I did not agree with how Charles handled it when Lewis had the tire to go in front when he knew he was pitting. I think that was a very
Richard. You say Richard?
Yeah, it was yes. Again, his move, and you put whatever, it starts with a D. You guys could put the rest to it, but yeah, because the only thing I was trying to pull away from that is that maybe he was doing that to ensure that Lewis couldn't undercut him coming back out, right? Possibly. So that's it. But, you know, when it happened, you know, because Lewis always talks about the team effort type of deal, right? And it's, you know, I think in the last, when it was with Valtteri, they've kind of done that team thing where one will go forward. If you can't do it, then we swap back. I think he's kind of moved into that. You know, I don't think he's as cutthroat as he was when he was younger, right? Okay. So, but I think looking back at it now, Charles did that to ensure that he couldn't get in front of him because, you know, Charles wanted to be up there. Okay, I get you. But I just still think that.
So let me ask you a question, Ray. If they weren't teammates, would it have been an issue what Charles did to Lewis?
No, because they're not on the same team, for sure.
So at the end of the day, in my opinion, Charles was racing his race.
And that's why
he has a teammate. But I'm sorry, if you and I are racing and we're teammates, we're racing, bro. We're racing.
So that's why I just said.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that's what I just said, right? Initially, I thought it was being and then I realized that, well, he's securing that when he comes back out, he's going to be in his position and not lose a spot to Lewis, right? So, I stepped back off of that, but it was interesting to observe, right? And I still say that, yes, as far as this, the cars being temperamental, it goes back to what I keep saying. The cars are too aero dependent, right? Because if you should be able to set up a car and go, and move when the weather changes outside of it raining, right? And it being a hurricane, that the car is still manageable, right? As opposed to where it is like, if it goes up this amount of degrees, then the car won't behave. If you have a wind in this direction, it won't behave. I think we can get lost in the technology, right? And we have to know when to, reel back that technology to get to a point where they can do, because you have Mercedes that don't know about their car, right? I think, Red Bull, I heard a couple of races ago that they did a different thing, that they were looking at the data and the engineers came at one point and the new manager asked Max, what did he think? And Max said, no, I want it this way, which went against the data, and they put it in, and that's when he did his turnaround. Right. And so it goes back again that data is great, but it's like, it's just like what the professor might said, right? Newton's law of motion, object in motion, always in motion. When we roll the ball across the ground, why does it, stop? Because why? There are other factors. So you have to be able to come with the data, the perspective, and say, okay, let me put a driver on top of this data. And what's the driver looking for him to perform, right? They're still doing an experiment where they have robot cars racing. I don't know what that's going to be about, but for now we have drivers in the seat. So you still have to have the driver factor in. And I think a lot of these guys, and Lewis complained about a Mercedes years ago, right? Saying that when they went down that avenue with that design, he said it wasn't going to work. And they finally came back around to understand the data that they're looking at. So I guess they have to find a middle ground. That's the point I'm trying to say. They have to find a middle ground.
That's true. I wanted to circle back on the Charles and Lewis part of that for a moment, and I saw that as, if Lewis has indeed turned a corner with the car, because I know that was his issue, that he said it was very different to what he's been racing at Mercedes, that everything that he normally would do doesn't work with this car. So if he turned a corner, because I don't know, dare I say, anyone will correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is one of the first times that we see that he was really challenging him at one point pretty hard, and he was clearly faster than him. Charles is it's psychological too. He's trying to maintain his number one status within the team, and Lewis is there trying to take that, or to challenge that. So he's not going to let him through. I think that's what we're seeing. Like, if Lewis's performance continues and he's still strong, we're going to see that has to go sour in Ferrari as well, right? Because Charles is not going to want him to challenge, but that's why Lewis is there. And I hope he can challenge him. So I didn't necessarily have a problem with it. I saw it as, okay, this might be the start where we see that they, kind of like Charles and Carlos when they were there. They were friendly, but there were times Carlos beat him and there were times Charles beat him. He's trying to keep Lewis back as long as he can. I just hope that Lewis is really picking up. That's all. I
believe so. I believe Lewis is picking it up, and I think Charles is going to challenge him.
Yeah, he should. And that's what you want. That's what you want. Contrast that though when you go like to McLaren, that you want them to race, but there comes a point where we've seen it when we saw that Lewis and Rosberg, when they were going at it, when it's within the team, it's hard to manage. It's hard to manage. But
can I respond to one thing that Ray said, which I find interesting? And I think, Ray, you have a point about possibly the technology is beyond our capabilities of understanding, right? And I think two things can be true. I think that's one side of it and one perspective, but I think the other perspective is, all right, well, if the technology is too advanced for us, we need to step up our game and get ahead of the technology, right? And the only thing that's going to push humans to do that is to have a challenge in front of them. I don't know which one is, the one that we should use for Formula One at this point. But, I can understand them not wanting to go back. And I'm assuming they've had this issue or challenge before in Formula One that, during the 50 years or 70, is it 70 years? 70 years that Formula One's been around. I'm assuming technology got ahead of the team. But, if Ferrari had an Adrian Newey, would we still have the same issue? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
So can I just rebut that?
Yeah, go.
All right. I hear you. However, we have a time frame in which this whole thing is unfolding. So in order for it depend, and it's your position dependent on how you perform within that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So it does them no good to stick with it. It's if you don't get it, roll back to somewhere where you can work from, and then come in from adding pieces a little bit at a time and trying to figure out where it is. But I think one of their big thing is that they still keep the guys that do the data still don't put the driver feel, which is not captured by data, into what they're doing, the calculations of what they're doing, or providing the flexibility within it to say, hey, yeah, even though from a data perspective it says this, but the reality is, again, it's it's like psychology, right? People works off of psyche. So if the driver doesn't feel comfortable, even though Ferrari said, the driver's there to drive the car that's given to him, but if the driver is still not comfortable, he's not going to perform the way he needs to perform, and the team's not going to get what they're looking for. So, I think it's up to them to say, all right, let's roll it back like they did for Max on that race. And then Max performed. And I remember him saying on the radio, I told you it would work, right? And I think that's what they've started doing now with the car, that if he put, they'll do a data thing. And if he comes in and says, well, no, I don't like this. It feels funny, whatever. They'll walk it back, right? And it's it's a holistic view that I think people sometimes get caught up in with the data. And, I'm a KISS guy. Keep it simple, stupid. Because now they're down in a quagmire and they don't know what lever to pull to get back out. Yeah. Right? So they can reattack it. So that's just my say.
Okay. Got it. So again, just to close it out of having spoken about that, Mercedes, George was there. He lost a few places, but I guess Mercedes falls into that quagmire as well, as far as it seems to, of the cars. We've heard that where they said the cars are very sensitive. So I'm just curious to see what's going to happen next week to see is Ferrari able to maintain, and does Mercedes come back up, or do they flip-flop? And that's for the mid area. And then I want to see what happens with the McLaren boys. And then we know, as I've said, Max is like the great white shark. He's there lurking, right?
Yep.
See if he continues on his plan.
Yeah.
Because what is it? His win now, he closed a gap that was 104 to 40 points.
Yes.
This is what his third win in in 4 races.
Is that driver standings you're talking about?
Yeah. Driver. Yep.
That's
what matters now.
Yeah. The driver standings.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all that matters. The constructors is done. But yeah. That's
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
26 points from second and 40 points from first. I mean, that's how many races we have left? 4?
5,
4
right?
5. Yeah.
5.
Yeah, so he can easily take first place. Easily.
Let them sleep. Let them keep with this papaya rule, mumbo jumbo, and see what happens. You walk in and talk and say, hey, enjoy that mumbo jumbo. I'm the winner. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they need to get their act together and stop sleeping, because he is not sleeping. He's just moving forward.
And I think, Ray, you said it earlier. If McLaren, I'll just say it as a team, if McLaren loses the drivers, that's a black eye. So because they had it.
Yep.
So what they're going to do, Ralph, and I think Ray will appreciate this. Whoever's in second place, right, on that last race, if Max is close, second place person from McLaren is going to take out Max. So it's going to be.
That's what I'm talking about, buddy. That's it.
It's going to be McLaren regardless.
Yeah. What's that? Wait a minute. There was a race like that. It's
take him out.
Now. Yeah. That there's a race in the past that's still in court now, where they're saying that somebody put somebody up to causing a crash so that the person could win the championship. I forgot. I saw something like that.
Well, yeah, that might be, but there was also that in Singapore, Crashgate.
Yeah,
with Alonso and Piquet Jr.
Yeah,
over there, where he, strategically crashed his car on the front straight to bring out the safety car, and Alonso won the race.
That's what I'm talking. That's how you got to play. If you're gonna be a team player, be a team player.
Or what Schumacher?
Or Senna and Prost when it was the last race. I think it was in Japan, and what Senna did was he crashed. He didn't yield when they were going into the first corner and crashed into Alain Prost, and then Senna won the championship.
Yeah, so they did that. Yeah, they did that in 2020 with Lewis and Verstappen, right? Who crashed?
Oh my God! Why I drawing a blank?
Oh, you mean you mean was it Schumacher?
No. He said Verstappen and Lewis.
Verstappen and Lewis in 2020 when Lewis won his 8th championship.
Oh, it was no. It's the guy from the U.S. driver. That's no longer there. I forgot who it is. The guy from the U.S. I think he's the one that crashed, right? He's the one that did that.
Anyway,
yes.
They paid him money to crash, so Verstappen could go in the pit, get the new tires.
Yes.
Well, Schumacher's done that on a qualifying. I remember at Monaco, he qualified in front and then went out and then. At the
allegedly,
first turn,
you got to say allegedly.
Allegedly. Sorry, right.
Yeah. So, hey, it's a sport where, as sport is, they just want to win. So,
yeah.
But I haven't said.
Oh, we got to look at the constructors.
Yep, I was just bringing us to the constructors lineup. So, we already know first place is sealed, but we're looking at second place.
Second place is from second to fourth. It's separated by 10 points. 10 points.
So, well, one thing I can pretty much guarantee, and I'm not a gambling man, but I'll just throw it out there. It will not be Red Bull.
Wow.
Because you need Yuki.
Well, Yuki did well in this race. He got some points, man. He was bumping people off the track left and right. You know what I'm saying? Ask Ollie Behrman that he pushed off in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? So and got away with it. No, I'm only joking. But no,
he did come in seventh place, got 6 points. Which
good for him. Good for him. Good for him. But I think it's gonna be between Mercedes and Ferrari. So let's see.
I don't know, dude. Max keeps winning.
No, I think Red Bull is right on poise to take that away from all of the rest.
He keeps winning.
I think so. That's where I'm at. Red Bull's going to take it. Yeah.
And until Lando takes him out on the last race, I think it's up in the air.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this. If Mercedes or Ferrari lose second place to Red Bull, oh my God, that's a double black eye. Yeah. Because they have two cars that, well, actually, let me rephrase that because Kimi's been,
Kimi's been pretty consistent.
He's been consistent. But he's gotten into a few little elbows, minor scrapes. Some not his fault, we should say. But yeah, so that's interesting to see. That's interesting. But yeah, just having said that, I want to see. I think it'll be Mercedes.
We'll see. Wow.
I think it'll be Mercedes. Watch Red Bull do it.
Of course,
I'm thinking it's Red Bull, bro. I'm just gonna say it.
I'm gonna side with Simon on this one. Red Bull, it's coming.
Yeah. So
Max is gonna have to DNF to really stop that.
And they're gonna do what they need to do to make sure that car is ready for him the whole time because they want that. Because they do that. They're to start a whole season. To come back from nowhere and just come back and sweep it, took the drivers, and then it's still a black eye for McLaren, right? The constructors and they didn't have a driver that took the drivers' championship, so it's a win-win-win for Red Bull.
Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see. I am really looking forward to next week's Grand Prix in Mexico. I want to see predictions.
Yeah, man.
Wow, dude. You know, we all bet against Max last week, and you know, I don't want to jump on it just because he's doing it. I'm going to say it's Oscar. I say Oscar is going to relight his fire. He's going to get out on top of Lando, so I think it's going to be Oscar, Max, Lando. How about you, Simon?
Verstappen has 5 wins in Mexico. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2021, and 2022. And 2023. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. I can't right now. I can't see how he doesn't win this one too. I mean, that means the track is made for him. So I'm gonna go with Max. I think Piastri is gonna show up, and I'm gonna think Lando is gonna be third.
Ray?
See, that was a data-driven man right there, right? That's how he made his conclusion. Hopefully, this data didn't lie to him. You know, the human factor didn't talk. You know, come and swap that up. But anyway,
let's hear what you gotta say. Let's hear what you gotta say.
I think it's gonna be a. I'm thinking of Oscar, Max, and Leclerc.
Ooh, Piastri's out.
No, Oscar, Max.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, sorry, I didn't listen.
Lando, yeah.
Lando's out, he's saying.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We've been dismal.
Yeah, sure. No one wants to pick Lewis?
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet. Nothing against Lewis. I'm still, you know, fingers crossed, going to any kind of lucky charm I can for next year that he's out there firing.
He might go a whole year not being on the podium.
Oh,
yeah,
speaking of that, I'm sorry,
record, right? No,
yeah,
the record,
he may be the new record holder for a Ferrari debut without a podium.
So, I didn't know that. That's
yes. So, you know, the only thing saving him is he has a lot of other records that he broke, but I'm sure he wouldn't want that one. So let's see. I mean, I would love for him to get a podium before the season's over, but
because there are people banking on the fact that he would end up without one.
Yeah. So
Charles,
okay.
Don't you worry. Charles will hook him up.
Charles. No.
Go ahead and pass me. Go ahead. I got
Charles will be the first one to put the dagger in his chest, not even in his back. In his chest, you know.
Let him see it coming. Yep.
Yeah,
well, everyone, thank you again for joining us for another episode. We will join you again next week when we come to you with the Grand Prix of Mexico. Until then, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and ring the notification bell to stay up to date on all things the fellas. And you can follow us on your podcast streaming platform of choice. Until then, see you next week.